Thank you for the opportunity to address the board tonight. I have two different issues I'd like to address. My first is the commission of a consultant to lead the updated comprehensive plan, and I'm glad we're going forward with that. I believe an update will garner us more points on any grant application, so that's a great thing. On any of their rubrics, usually having an updated town plan makes a difference. However, I do believe that there is much that is right about our 2008 plan regarding the direction our town should be proceeding. I believe it was nearly a year ago that this board started moving forward on this, and at the time the board asked for a citizen survey, and also the supervisor indicated some of his first steps were to ask each department head to look at that 2008 plan and the steps or the path that was laid out to achieve those goals and objectives. The department heads were to report back as to what goals had been achieved, but more importantly, they were to address barriers or roadblocks to achieving those goals. I believe that this information is critical as we move forward to update our plan, and I would ask the board to release that information so the concerned citizens have time to review those barriers, those roadblocks, and try to discern ways to address them in the next plan. My second concern is to ask the board to table its resolution to set a public hearing about establishing a PPD on the lumberyard property. I do not believe that more senior housing is needed in Webster, and I would support the combined office park zoning with no special use variances. The board denied senior housing on property across from Willink Middle School a year or two ago and asked Morgan developers to show that more was needed, and they did not. Directly across from the lumberyard is an apartment complex labeled senior housing. Anecdotally, I can only say that 2 years ago, while helping my mother search for senior housing, we looked at that complex. We asked if it was a 55 and older community, and we were told, well, mostly. So I would ask the board to again place the burden on the developer to prove that we have a need for more senior apartments. The designation office park for zoning has many more requirements for preserving old wood forest, has strict conditions regarding the amount of coverage that is allowed. This property is ecologically sensitive in that it has streams and wetlands and therefore habitats that need to be preserved. Webster being located next to the lake and having so many tributaries and streams into Lake Ontario requires that we be mindful of our development and preserve and protect critical ecologically sensitive areas. Retention ponds constructed as shown on this site plan do not preserve habitat. And I would ask that the town not move forward on this resolution at this time. Wait for the completion of the updated comprehensive plan before considering anything that is tantamount to rezoning attempts that removes protections of the current office park designation has. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up tonight is Diana Davis.
Hello, guys. Good to see you all again.
Hey, Diana, you still have the
I
succulent.
know, I saw it when I was in the
That is the Diana
audience.
Davis succulent.
I really do think it adds a lot of cheer to the entire proceedings. So
Your idea.
I'll give Patty the credit, but I think it was a great idea. So yeah, I'm just to echo really some of Dottie's points. I think it's our position really that there's a couple main points. One is the woodlot EPOD. I think that's a huge thing. The fact that there is a woodlot EPOD on this property indicates that, according to prior open space plans and according to the comprehensive plan in its discussion of woodlots, this would be a particular area of environmental sensitivity, and the intention really, when those woodlot EPODs were created and when the comp plan discusses them, particularly their use in conjunction with office park zoning as this property is, it's clear that the intention is to restrict development, not obviously outlaw completely 100%, but to add an additional level of control and restriction so that we're making sure that the maximum amount of green space is preserved, minimum amount of impact. Using a PDD in conjunction with a special use permit is contravening not only the intention of the EPOD, but really it's undermining the whole sort of, I want to say veracity, but that's not quite the word. It's essentially a workaround, right? It's kind of like almost a rezone without rezoning. So when you look at the regulations for the PDD, it's clear that they're not meant to be used to allow uses that aren't already pre-existent uses. And I think it's disingenuous to claim that if something is allowed with a special use permit, it's a pre-existent use. It's not. That's what a special use permit means. It's special, right? So even though there are obviously provisions within the Office Park District to allow senior housing with a special use permit, the fact that this is Office Park District with an EPOD on it indicates that it's pertinent to the parts of the comprehensive plan that say specifically that those areas should be preserved to the maximum extent possible. Not the maximum extent in a particular development that's been allowed with a PDD and a special use permit, but to the maximum extent possible, as in original office park zoning and the amount of preservation that that's asking. Then you also have, obviously, the fact that this property was part of literally every single green space plan that we've done. I hope you all enjoyed the throwback to 1974. I did scan that in, so if anybody wants to nerd out with the PDF, it's available. But yeah, it's like the jewel of Webster. There's one of two properties left unprotected. Tom knows exactly the other one I'm talking about, that are really like clutch, I think, for any future green space preservation. Were we to go forward with, you know, I love the R word, the referendum, right? If there is a comprehensive plan update coming up that suggests that open space referendum be on the docket, letting the public vote on purchasing property, this would literally be one of two that we would want to get. It's right next to the Hojag Trail. It's right across from North Ponds. I could go on. All of this is to say that I understand that tonight's resolution is not about whether or not to issue the PDD. I get it. But for all of these reasons, in the prior October 17th workshop meeting, twice it was repeated, if this is, I think, acceptable, and there was another word, if the concept is acceptable, then we would ask there to be a public hearing set. For all of the reasons I've just outlined, the concept is not acceptable, okay? And because the comprehensive plan update is just coming up, it is the wrong time. We were told when we were pursuing a referendum in 2022 that it was the wrong time to pursue the referendum because with the comprehensive plan coming up, we didn't want to be preserving open space and locking it in, right, before the comprehensive plan. So by that same logic, with the comprehensive plan coming up, we don't want to be developing or going down the steps of making special allowances to facilitate the development of one of the last huge open green space parcels, in Webster. That's all I got.
Thank you, Diana. Okay, next up is Janice Jackman.
Hi there, Janice Jackman, 27 Westover Drive. I just have two questions. Number one, you're talking about the comprehensive plan. Am I correct that the last time this was revised was 2008? I'd like a yes or a no to that.
Is that correct, Josh?
Well, now you'll know when we answer questions, young lady. I know you came in a little late for the workshop. In the presentation packet that Josh did, it showed the last update was 2008.
Can I ask why that is?
It was kind of
That's 16 years. I'm looking for leadership in this town. Can I get an answer as to why that is? That's a long time. And that's a long time considering how much development has happened here. I've lived here since 2001 or 2003, I can't remember. So let's call it 20 years. That almost matches the time, give or take 5 years, since this plan was last revisited. Since I have lived here, when I bought my home, the entire Target Plaza did not exist. It was all woods. When I bought my home, the batting cage and the golf tee were behind Brewster's. My house was sold as Forever Green. That was a mistake. You look at the amount of development that has happened in the last, say, 20 years. I'm going to say it's huge. It's an explosion. So I'm asking again, how did this go 16 years without a revisitation to that plan? I'd like an answer.
Wow.
I think there are duties here.
Janice, you
Yes.
know, I came into office on January 1st, 2020.
Okay?
Right? And comprehensive plan was one of my things that was on my campaign. Something happened 2.5 months into 2020, it was called COVID. Kind of threw a lot of things into disarray. But we came back, and you should get the presentation that Josh did. We came back
That he
in
did
2000, yes,
I was here for
2021 and
most
2022, once we started taking masks off and coming back into work, we hit this comprehensive plan hard. We applied for a grant in 2021 from the state, we got turned down. We did presentations in 21 on how we're gonna do this. We came back in 22, we learned from those things, we got the grant. We got 2,000 people to answer a survey in the fourth quarter of 2022. What I underestimated was that the state, once they awarded us $100,000, which is good for the taxpayers of Webster, for us to get that, I did not factor in the state was going to take as long as they did going through the different iterations of us signing that contract. We are now at the point, and you should get his presentation, after a robust process that had 30 different firms that were reached out to, 5 responded, a vetting process that was very robust, and now tonight, we have an agenda item, number 12 on this, to authorize the supervisor to sign that agreement and hit the ground running in January of 25. That's the best answer I can give you, Janice,
Tom,
because
I
I wasn't here in 2019.
And I can appreciate that.
So there's the answer.
Well, I can appreciate that, and I can appreciate COVID. But if you came on 2020, and no, you can't answer for other people, nor can I, who precede me in a job. But do you have any idea how we could go from 2008 to 2020? Is this common that plans last 16 years? Especially with the growth of the town?
And Janice, I don't want to be rude, we're done with the Q&A. I'm not going to speculate on what is common in other towns. My bandwidth is to take care of Webster. And we have a story about the comprehensive plan that I'll stand by and look anybody in the eye. We hit the ground running with the comprehensive plan. It took longer than I would have liked to get it off the ground, for the reasons I just described and what's in his presentation. Now, Janice, because you entered into a Q&A, you have 40 seconds left.
All right, my question is, are you allowing other people to be part of the comprehensive plan? People who have different vested
My question
interests?
is, and my comment is, please get his presentation, because all of it is in there. Part of a comprehensive plan, a big part of it is subcommittees and all that will start in January of 25.
Subcommittees, did you say?
Let's get the consultant on board, and they'll tell us how to best take this community and have a good work product that is good for the community in the 18 months it's going to take to do the
I hope
comprehensive
so.
plan. And we now are at 5 minutes.
I expect to see it.
All right, Denise, I expect to do it. All righty, Dave Malaki, that's a tough one to follow, Dave. How do you follow that?